Just as a reminder for folks who haven't already, please select a language that you would like to hear the meeting in. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the County of Los Angeles Citizen Redistricting Commission special meeting. Today is November 15, 2021, and the time is 7:01 p.m. We will now call the public meeting to order. For this meeting, we have available interpretation services. For those who are joining via Zoom, please select your preferred language by clicking on the interpretation button at the bottom of your screen, which is a globe icon. Select English or Spanish. You then can choose to mute the original audio for clearer interpretation. If you do not choose a language, you will not hear the interpretation. As a reminder to the public, this public hearing is being recorded and live streamed to youtube.com/LA County Redistricting. The link to the recording will also be posted and accessible through the Los Angeles County Redistricting website. If at any time, any members of the public have any technical difficulties, please let us know in the Q&A and we can work towards fixing the issue. With that, I will now take the roll. As a reminder, commissioner names will be called in a rotating alphabetical order by last name. Commissioners, please be prepared to unmute your mic and respond when your name is called. Commissioner Saida Soto.
Present.
Commissioner Brian Stetcher.
Present.
Commissioner John Bento.
Present.
Co-Chair Carolyn Williams.
Present.
Commissioner Dorina Wong.
Present.
Commissioner Jean Franklin.
Present.
Commissioner David Holtzman.
Present.
Commissioner Mary Kenny.
Present.
Co-Chair Daniel Maeda.
Present.
Commissioner Mark Mendoza.
Present.
Commissioner Apolonio Morales.
Present.
Commissioner Nelson Obregon.
Here, present.
And Commissioner Priscilla Orbanella Segura. I do not see Commissioner Orbanella Segura. And Commissioner Haile Soto is excused. I will now turn the agenda over to Co-Chair Williams.
Thank you.
We want to make note of how people can sign up for public comments so they can be doing this while we go through the earlier items.
Of course. So for any members of the public who are interested in making a live public comment, you may submit in the Q&A your name, your affiliated organizations, if any, and that you would like to make a public comment, as well as the agenda item you would like to make a public comment on. When you are called to make your public comment, you will be able to unmute your mic so that you can speak. If you are participating via phone, press *9 to raise your hand. Once called upon, press *6 to unmute and speak. Each person will have one opportunity to speak for 1 minute per agenda item. When you begin making your comment, please share your name and any affiliation you may have. Again, the Q&A is for members of the public to sign up to make a live public comment. If you have additional comments you would like to make, including public comments for specific draft maps, they can be submitted to the public comment form. And you can find the link in the chat or on the CRC website. Submitting to the public comment form ensures that your comments are accurately recorded. And because we do have interpretation services, we do ask that speakers speak a little bit slower so that the interpreters are able to keep up with that. And with that, I can show a quick demo on how to access the public comment form and how to submit that as well. Okay, so for any members of the public who are interested in submitting to the public comment form, you can access the public comment form with the link in the chat or through the CRC website. And if you're on the CRC website, you can click on Submit Comments for Meetings and Hearings on the homepage. What this will do is open up the public comment form. And what you will need to do is fill in the required fields, including first name and last name. Here, you can also upload any documents that you may have, and then it will just direct you to select the document you would like to upload from your computer. But in the public comment form, you will need to select a specific agenda item you would like to make a public comment on. For example, for today's special meeting for 5A, if you select on it, you can then enter in any comments. And the comments here are optional, but you will need to choose your position. You can say in favor, oppose, or other. Once you select your position and include any comments that you would like, you will need to enter in the security code at the bottom here. Once you enter in the security code, you can press next. And what it will take you to a verification page, and all you will need to do is click acknowledge. Once you click acknowledge, it will submit your public comment and we will be posting it after the meeting.
And I think the other nice thing about that, it allows the public to write in any observations they may have for the specific maps as well. So now I'll turn it over to co-chair Carolyn Williams.
Thank you. The agenda is approved. There are no changes to the agenda at this time. Just want to say thank you, Ty and Gayla, for that information. Because it is a special meeting, there are no public comments at this time for items not on the agenda, but we will move directly into the next item 4, consent items.
So for the consent items, we have draft minutes for the previous meeting, November 10th, 2021 meeting. Those minutes have been circulated to the commissioners. Is there any correction? Are there any corrections, revisions, et cetera, on the November 10th minutes? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to have the November 10th, 2021 draft minutes approved.
I so move.
Commissioner Stetcher moves. Is there a second?
I second.
Commissioner Franklin seconds. Ty, can you take roll?
Commissioners, please be prepared to unmute your mic and respond when your name is called. I will now take roll call. Commissioner Brian Stetcher.
Aye.
Commissioner John Bento.
Aye.
Co-chair Carolyn Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Dorina Wong.
Aye.
Commissioner Jean Franklin.
Yes.
Commissioner David Holtzman.
Yes.
Commissioner Mary Kenny.
Yes.
Co-chair Daniel Maeda.
Aye.
Commissioner Mark Mendoza.
Aye.
Commissioner Apollonia Morales.
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson Obregon.
Yes.
And Commissioner Cyrus Soto.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Ty. Next item on the agenda is our main work for tonight, which is to review and discuss the public input on our map options and to have commissioners discuss those map options. For the public and for the commission, I want to give you a preview of the process that I hope we will follow tonight. First, we're going to have a brief staff report. I would ask the commissioners, if at all possible, to hold clarification questions. I promise you will have a chance to talk. That is the goal of this meeting, this special meeting, to have the commissioners actually grapple with what we've heard and to share their thoughts. But I don't want to delay the public. I don't want to make the public wait for an hour to give public comment tonight, if at all possible. I want to get to that as early as possible that we can. And then when the commissioner, after public comment, we'll have the commissioners discuss the maps one by one. And I'd like to have each commissioner use no more than 2 minutes to make their comments, focusing on 2 things. One, what specific changes, if any, do you suggest that the particular map we're talking about, and we're going to be talking about them one by one, the 4 map options. What specific changes do you want to see in that particular map, if any? And second, what are the benefits or detriments that you see of that particular map? Recognizing that these maps, even if they're pushed forward, still may be adjusted and so forth. Those are the 2 things. And each commissioner will have 1 opportunity to speak during that particular map, when that particular map is being discussed. I don't think we're going to go round robin because I'm anticipating that in some cases, commissioners will simply forego comment because someone else has already raised the question or whatever. And again, there's going to be time at the end as well for the commissioners to say their overall thoughts. But we're going to proceed along those lines. After the 4 maps have been discussed one by one, where there's going to be an opportunity to raise other maps if the commission wants to do that. And then I hope before the end of the meeting, we'll all have a clearer sense of how each other is approaching this process, which maps might have more support than other maps, and what the commission's priorities are. Hopefully, I don't anticipate that we'll be voting tonight to eliminate any maps. I think we should probably wait to do that until the second public hearing this Wednesday at the earliest. But I hope you will be prepared by the end of that process to vote on Wednesday for your top 2 map options. So that's the goal that I'm setting forth, and we'll see how far we get. Are there any questions from the commission as to that process, which I will go over again before we speak, but that's the hope that I have at this point.
Commissioner Wong?
Yeah, Co-Chair Maeda, if I guess I know that you're asked us to wait till Wednesday. If we do have a preference, should we share that tonight, or should we just wait till Wednesday?
There's no problem sharing a preference. I'm just saying that as far as a motion to eliminate, that we might want to hold off until Wednesday. There may well be a motion to add a map or 2 to the existing 4 that we're looking at. That would be in order. That would be in order if folks wanted to do that. But in terms of elimination, I'm suggesting we hold off.
Thank you.
Okay. Ty, are there any other questions or comments from the commission that I don't see?
I see no other hands.
Okay, let's go to the staff report then. Thank you.
So my staff report is going to be very brief. We did receive from the People's Block responses to the commissioner's questions on map A. They were posted the November 10th meeting. We really didn't get to those details, but I encourage you to look at it. They very thoughtfully went through every single one of the recorded commissioner questions and provided response. And they also provided links or details on each of their meetings they'd had with communities of interest and have provided those details. I have not received a response from MALDEP yet. You would ask them to provide information from their attorneys in terms of their maps. The other quick update as we go into this meeting is we now have 49 maps that have been submitted. So interest is growing. Some of these maps are new. Some of them are modifications of the maps under consideration. Right now we have posted 4 maps. They are now labeled options A1, B1, C1, and D1, and they include the modifications you all had asked for in the prior meetings, and they're listed here on the right, including making sure Catalina's joined to the right one, keeping Duarte together, and some other ones like that. For the public, I just want to make sure you all are familiar with the terms because you're going to hear these terms tonight. All of these data sets I'm going to talk about are nested. So if you look at the various numbers, basically you have 91,000 census blocks in the US Census. They roll up to 6,000 approximately block groups that then roll up to 2,400 tracts. The county has created redistricting data units to have a more manageable number to work with. It's about 3,000. I do have a request into the county in case we need to split an RDU, the process we could go through to do that. So you will see the maps presented both with the ESRI software and the ArcBridge software that can go down to the tract level or block level. The other term that's really important to think about are the countywide statistical areas. And again, this is for the public. They define the boundaries for the 88 cities. The census blocks do not necessarily follow the city boundaries. The census just figures out how they're going to group, and they form blocks. So the county actually defines this is the boundary, and it's within apparently 5 yards of the boundary of where Pasadena is, or Duarte, or Whitaker, where have you. It also includes the 122 unincorporated areas, which are also distinct communities. The exception among the cities is the city of Los Angeles, which is broken down into 139 smaller communities. I want to also make sure everyone's aware that the commission has heard from the public that you very much want to look at the neighborhood councils. Those can be overlaid, but they do not align with the census tracts, the blocks, or the CSAs. There are some areas of the city of LA that do not have neighborhood councils. They decided to use a homeowners association, such as the Pacific Palisades area. But again, we're very much aware of those, and those would be details we'd be looking at a later date. We've received a lot of modifications. There is a worksheet posted on the website, and I'm going to go over a couple of the highlights. But on this slide, what I wanted to share were some patterns that we heard from groups regarding 2 or more maps. So one of the repeated comments, and these are not all comments, these are comments that were very specific that had to do about where you draw the line. We had a lot of other comments that say, I like this map, I like this map, I don't like this map. But these were comments that asked for changes, modifications, what have you. So one pattern we heard was keep cities whole, specifically Santa Monica. And that was a correction that's been made on the most recent maps. We also got repeated comments about combining cities that share the same sheriff's services. So a number of your smaller cities will contract with the county for sheriff, library, parks, and recs. The one that comes up is Paramount, combining Paramount with Lakewood specifically, and a couple comments. We've gotten a number of comments about this neighborhood called Stonehurst. It's up in Tahunga. It's very detailed, very specific about what they want to keep together. And I would sort of say, you know, the concept of keeping cities together is sort of a big concept. We have a lot of these like little tweaks. There's another one in Sherman Oaks. There's another one for the West Side Neighborhood Council about the boundaries for National Boulevard. We don't need to get dozens and dozens of these comments. We've gotten a lot of them. These, I would say, are refinements that we can do when we get later into narrowing the maps down. What's most important at this point is that you think conceptually. Do you like generally how things are clustered? If some cities are split that should be put together, that's fine tuning we can do. We want to keep this at still the strategic level if conceptually the maps make sense. I will share this worksheet just so you can sort of see the pattern on the submissions about the map comments to date. The document that I've prepared includes all the comments we've received, and it has a separate section of, you know, and documents. These are the comments from November 3rd, November 7th, November 10th, November 15th. What I'm going to show you now are the consolidated comments about where to draw the line. So these are all the line suggestions for modifications for map A1 or map A, its earlier predecessor. And you're going to see here, there's some sort of what I call big strategic issues. Like a big strategic issue is whether or not you want to keep Glendale, Burbank, and Pasadena together, or do you want to keep a map option that shows them separated? Other ones are more specific about putting Porter Ranch with the San Fernando Valley, for example, questioning how far south the coast should go. And then again, you get very specific about this land in Torrance, where they felt that narrow bridge of land should not be in the map that way. So these are the ones for map A. On the second page, you have a similar summary for map B or map B1. And again, the blue are the ones that you as commissioners had said. If it's in black, it's from the public. You'll see here a whole, you know, about keeping the equestrian communities and Hidden Hills together. That's a more detailed one. A number about keeping Burbank, Glendale together, the Tri-Cities. As you go down through the list, map C has slightly different comments. It's a longer list. Here, concerns about breaking up the San Fernando Valley, do not separate the San Gabriel Valley cities, do not split the San Fernando Valley into 3 successorial districts. So there's sort of some bigger picture conceptual ones, and then there are very specific ones about keeping Chatsworth, Lake Manor, Chatsworth, Porter Ranch, Twin Lakes, Granada Hills together. So you'll see the gamut from the very detailed to the more conceptual. Map D had a very short list. Again, concern about Paramount and Lakewood being combined. About placement of Eagle Rock.
Eagle Rock.
So right now we have the Spanish, I think, bleeding into the English. Is it corrected? Did everybody pick if they want English or Spanish? Okay. So the other thing in this workshop is we have some comments. We got some comments that I think were more specifically meant for the city of LA. So you'll see a number of those grouped there about splitting up Encino, keeping Downey and Bell Gardens compact. And then there were a lot of comments we got as a bundle on the Asian communities, which I've included. The rest of these are just documenting all the comments, what meetings they came from and what map, and then the sources at the end. So that pretty much concludes the key points I wanted to cover with you all in terms of just background information, wanting to encourage you to keep it at a high level. And I'll turn it back to the co-chairs. I think, Dan, we wanted Pretty to sort of give an overview of like map, like you maybe start with D and go backwards and have her give an overview of D, and then commissioners talk about it, then she can show the next map so the public sees the maps you're talking about to start.
Right. When we get to the commissioner comments about the individual maps, we can have Pretty show the public the map, and the commissioners may want to refer to the map as well.
So if there aren't a lot of questions, we can go to public comment pretty quickly then.
We also have a hand for Commissioner Stetcher.
Yes.
Thank you. This is a very specific question about what was just presented. Could you go back to the slide where you listed the units? And I have found this confusing, and the public might as well.
Which document, Commissioner Stetcher?
The slides you were showing us, one of the first ones where you listed the geographic units and the terms that appear.
On the PowerPoint or in this MS Word document?
It was the
PowerPoint.
County-wide statistical.
Okay, sure. Hold on. By the way, I've also put up here later, we had a lot of detailed comments from Henry Fong's map. Is this a slide you mean?
Yes, thank you. If someone goes into the Esri mapping software and they open up the map contents slider, they have the choice within Los Angeles of showing RDUs, which are these 2957 units, or something called COMM, C-O-M-M. Is that abbreviation the same as the CSAs, or which units are the ones that people get when they make that choice?
So Pretty, do you want to take that question? Is she here? She was here earlier, or Ty?
I am here, but let me go check and see what that layer is, because we are typically using the CSAs, which they have 2 layers of CSAs. One is zoomed in and one is zoomed out. So
Right.
I'll have to look at COM and get back to you.
And I can help answer that right now as
And
well.
this is, it's not in the LA County reference, it's in the LA City reference layer. Go, thank you, Todd.
But before I jump in, Commissioner Holtzman, did you have a related question?
No, I can help answer it. I think it stands for community.
Right. And so Commissioner Stetcher, as you were mentioning, you were asking whether or not this aligns with what is defined as CSAs. In a manner, yes. So right now, the Esri software, you can select the geographical unit by RDUs or groups of RDUs that are nested within cities or other types of communities, including unincorporated areas and Los Angeles neighborhoods. So in a way, yes, it's aligned with CSAs that you can select cities or unincorporated areas, or within the city of Los Angeles, the specific neighborhoods. Does that help answer the question, Commissioner Stetcher?
Somewhat, except that when you turn on and off the community
Can I ask,
layer,
maybe it's just something that can be done
Yes.
offline?
that's fine. I thought it was a simpler question and answer, but it gets getting more complex. Let's move on.
Thank you. If there's no other burning clarification questions, let's get right to public comment.
Okay, so Commissioner Holtzman, your hand is still up?
Yeah, just one quick clarification. The RDUs are not nested in the neighborhood council districts.
Yes. So not the neighborhood council, but neighborhoods as in like Los Angeles neighborhoods or communities. But
Actually,
yes,
I've noticed that some RDUs span neighborhood councils.
right.
The neighborhood councils are sort of a whole separate overlay. And there's a question I have, and I don't have an answer for you. The city council is currently redefining their council districts, and that's going to affect how the neighborhood councils are aligned. And I don't know if it's going to change some of the boundaries. I know some neighborhood councils have asked for their boundaries to be adjusted to fit with the new city council districts. So it's all sort of in flux right now.
But the hope,
what we have are the current neighborhood council districts.
but I believe, and I'm hoping we can get rally commissioners to agree, not to focus on neighborhood council district boundaries and where they fit right now. Let's try to stay on a more map level, conceptual level, and we can refine as we go further. Let's get to public comment, please.
All right, so going through public comment, just a reminder for members of the public who are interested in making a public comment, please put into the Q&A your name, any organization you may be affiliated with, that you would like to make a public comment on, and the specific agenda item, which is 5A for today. When you do begin to speak, you will have 1 minute to make your public comment, and we request that you speak a bit slower for the interpreters for the Spanish interpretation. With that, we are going to start off with Mayor James Bozajian. Momentarily, you'll be able to unmute yourself, and once you begin speaking, you will have 1 minute to make your public comment.
Thank you. My name is James Bozajian. I'm mayor of the city of Calabasas. We submitted comments before in writing with respect to two principles. First of all, keeping the 5 cities in our region and the surrounding unincorporated areas together. That would be Calabasas, Agoura Hills, Hidden Hills, Malibu, and Westlake Village. And secondly, to keep our district compact. We are very pleased with proposals B and D. However, we would note that proposal A splits off Hidden Hills, the city of Hidden Hills, from our region. And our region has only 100,000 people that I mentioned. And secondly, it stretches south in a snake-like fashion to include the Palos Verdes Peninsula and surrounding communities. Proposal C stretches down to the Orange County line, straddles it, and then goes east. It's also not acceptable to us for those reasons. So we very much appreciate your consideration for maps B and D. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Tigran Sasunian from Armenians for Redistricting Equity. So Tigran, momentarily you'll be able to unmute yourself, and once you begin speaking, you will have 1 minute to make your public comment.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, my name is Tigran. I am very concerned that this commission has totally ignored the Armenian community. This is a VRA protected community. We're a language minority community. There's been no conversation about the Armenian community, which is the 4th largest language spoken at home behind Spanish, Chinese, and Filipino, Tagalog. There has been no conversation about the Armenian population. We are a big organization. We want to be kept whole. We've now submitted maps. where we talk about the San Fernando Valley, Burbank, and Glendale. We want to be kept whole. OP map 29 from the VICA does the best job of that, but there needs to be a real conversation about the Armenian community and how we're being ignored in this process and why we have never been outreached to, why there's been no presentations from our organizations, and you guys have had no conversation of where Armenians live, where they exist, the communities of interest, and we need to do a better job of outreaching to communities, especially communities that don't speak a high level of English. And this is very concerning for a commission based on transparency that you're not doing that.
Thank you. Next, we have Chris Rowe. Chris, momentarily you will be able to unmute yourself, and once you begin speaking, you will have 1 minute to make your public comment.
Ty, could I just quickly respond to the previous commenter? I'm looking into that. I'm looking into the distribution of the Armenian population. I have a couple resources I'm using to do that and hope to share some findings with the commission soon.
Thank you. So then, Chris, momentarily you'll be able to unmute yourself.
Hello, it's Chris Rowe. I've been looking at all the maps in the hubs. I want to say that I appreciate all the updates by Commissioner Stetcher and Commissioner Kenny, but the map that I support the most is the one, I believe it's number 43 by Kim Lamori. Kim understands the rim of the valley, which is a koi, and that includes the Las Virgenes cog, which the mayor of Calabasas just spoke about it, with the San Fernando Valley, and where I feel Commissioner Stetcher and Commissioner Kenny, and I don't want to use the word fail, I'm trying to think of a better word, but just don't understand, is if you look at the geo layers, that's what I did today, you miss the northern parts of Chatsworth, Porter Ranch and Granada Hills. You stop it at about the 118. And I also want to get the, I submitted public comment.
Great, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Next, we have Maria Brenes. Maria, momentarily you'll be able to unmute yourself. And once you begin speaking, you have 1 minute to make your public comment.
Good evening, commissioners. Thank you so much for your time. This is Maria Brenes with Inner City Struggle, also an East Side resident. I want to uplift the importance of public comment in this process. Highest need residents are impacted by time, also the digital divide, and the deep challenges of the ongoing pandemic. I think that the role of community organizations supporting the participation of LA County residents, young and older, is essential and should be valued. We are fortunate to be in LA County, a region that leads in various social movements, advancing inclusivity, equity, and opportunity. All these voices and perspectives are a great strength to your deliberations, which you are very clearly intentional about. I appreciate your careful consideration of Map A, which takes into account substantial community input. Thank you again.
Thank you, Maria. Next, we have Jessica Panduro. Jessica, momentarily you will be able to unmute yourself, and once you begin speaking, you will have 1 minute to make your public comment.
Hello, good evening, commissioners. Again, my name is Jessica Panduro, long-term resident of Eastside, Los Angeles, organizer with Inner City Struggle, and alliance with the People's Blog. Through our work, we were able to engage with residents in the process around redistricting. We nearly educated about 200 Eastside residents, folks who never knew what redistricting was or had heard of it. Today, I'm here representing those Eastside residents from Lincoln Heights, Boyle Heights, El Sereno, unincorporated East LA, City Terrace, the working class, and many residents that are not able to participate every single day at 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. at night. Today, since they might not be able to, one, they don't know about the hearings. Two, they're busy working, cooking. They're living low income, who live paycheck by paycheck, a community whose primary language is Spanish. So I just want to uplift the importance of the East Side remaining in Supervisory District 1, which is something that they have uplifted before. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jessica. Next, we have Grace Peng. Grace, momentarily you will be able to unmute yourself, and once you begin speaking, you will have 1 minute to make your public comment.
Hello, my name is Grace Peng. I am on the board of directors for the League of Women Voters, LA County. I want to thank all the commissioners for how much time that they put into this process, trying to make it fair and transparent. I have some, we have some concerns with the ESRI software as it's been presented. In the beginning, we were able to go block by block, and we were using League of Women Voters was using the software to help redistrict individual cities. And when you remove the census block, the block by block function, and you collapse 92,000 different individual units into 3,000 units, that made it difficult for us to do our work. Can you please, you had functionality that worked. Can you please bring it back? Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Next, we have Ruby Rivera. Ruby, momentarily you will be able to unmute yourself, and once you begin speaking, you will have 1 minute to make your public comment.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Ruby Rivera. I am a lifelong resident of Linwood, and I have been organizing in the East Side for over 10 years. I'm here today representing both my local interests as a Cela resident, as well as the demands of members of Inner City Struggle that I serve. I am here to ask you all push Map A forward because it is the best map to meet the current and future needs of our communities. Map A creates an additional Latino seat without negatively impacting the hard work of organizers and community members in the county presently. It also keeps Eastside communities, which consists of unincorporated East LA, Boyle Heights, El Sereno, and Lincoln Heights, united and whole under the same district as Montebello, Pico Rivera, Alhambra, Monterey Park, San Gabriel, and El Monte. It keeps Southeast LA whole, which we identify the CELA 8 cities that you've all spoken about. It keeps us together, as residents have highlighted the importance of making sure that this region stays whole since we are similar, and very importantly maintains Black effective district with 30+ CVAP. Having lived in SD2 these past 10 years, I understand the power and necessity of ensuring that Black voices are powerful in SD2. It is the only map that ensures that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruby. Next, we have Darren Stover. Darren, momentarily you will be able to unmute yourself, and once you begin speaking, you will have 1 minute to make your public comment.
Hi there. Thank you very, very much. Lifelong San Fernando Valley resident here. And, just looking at the maps, we should be keeping the Antelope Valley with the San Fernando Valley whole and in one district. We should not be tying the San Gabriel Valley with the Antelope Valley. You don't drive in any way, shape, or form through the San Gabriel Valley to get to the Antelope Valley. You have to drive through the San Fernando Valley to get to the Antelope Valley. We share a lot of communities of interest, similar airports, you name it. We do not share commonalities with Santa Monica. We don't deal with heat issues that Santa Monica obviously gets to avoid. We are completely separate entities. So just hoping that you can keep the San Fernando Valley tied in with the Antelope Valley. We share a lot. We share a lot of major infrastructure, and we share a lot of communities of interest. So thank you, Commission, for your work.
Thank you, Darren. Next, we have Susan Petrulas-Nisman. Susan, momentarily you will be able to unmute yourself, and once you begin speaking, you will have 1 minute to make your public comment.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I've been a lifelong resident, well, more than half my life, but raised our family here in Topanga in the Santa Monica Mountains, and an activist and advocate for all those years, for the environment, for the mountains, for the ocean, all of it. Anyway, I did submit a comment on map D, and I guess it also would refer to map B in terms of the fact that map B does not include this community of interest. I was impressed with both maps in terms of trying to capturing compactness and the communities of interest that you had heard from. There's one concern that poses itself to many people I've talked with recently, and I hope they'll be commenting later on in maybe the next hearing. But the PCH task force, it's about Santa Monica and the connection to the North Bay and the Santa Monica Mountains and
Thank you,
the
Suzanne.
whole thing.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have John Mendoza. John, momentarily you will be able to unmute yourself, and once you begin speaking, you will have 1 minute to make your public comment.
Yes, my name is John Mendoza, 30-year resident. I live in the Ganesha Historic District of Pomona. I oppose Map A and support model of Map C. Long Beach doesn't share community interests with Pomona. Long Beach is a seaport city with a different culture. Pomona's past is based on a citrus economy since the 1800s. Pomona has its own underground water aquifers and water supply, not associated with the foothills, not associated with Long Beach. Our legislative districts are also interwoven with the Inland Empire, even with the draft maps that are coming out. I questioned Long Beach about having their elected officials having the district broken apart. Even as tonight, Pomona having a community meeting with the city council to discuss reinstating police on the Pomona Unified School District. And I don't think Diamond Bar City Council is going to have such a discussion in their city. So we differ also with the political culture with Diamond Bar. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Next, we have Jaime Garcia. Jaime, momentarily you will be able to unmute yourself, and once you begin speaking, you will have 1 minute to make your public comment.
Hi, it's actually Jamie Garcia.
Jamie.
Yeah, so I am a lifelong resident of the San Fernando Valley. I was born and raised here. And I just wanted to say that I appreciate all the work that you guys have put in. And my 2 cents on the matter are that, as a lifelong resident, I also would like people to know that the San Fernando Valley really needs to stay tied with the interest of the Antelope Valley as we've been. It doesn't really make sense to have us kind of tied with some of the stuff that's happening in Santa Monica, for example. Not necessarily cultural on a micro level, but just in terms of municipalities and individual changes within them in the county. So I just really want the network and the close communities that we have to be represented wholly by one county supervisor. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. With that, I see no other hands nor any in the Q&A. Oh, we have one more in the Q&A. Ishmael Castro, momentarily you will be able to unmute yourself, and once you begin speaking, you will have 1 minute to make your public comment.
Hello, my name is Ismael Castro. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, my name is Ismael Castro and I live and work in the East Side. I have been involved in community organizing for over 5 years. I'm calling in support of the People's Block Map, Map A. Like Maria Brenes and Jessica Panduro mentioned, it's important that community voices are valued in this process. Inner City Struggle has made efforts to bring community along in the process, and I trust that they have our community's best interests in mind, along with the People's Block member organizations when pushing Map A. Lastly, Map A will keep the East Side connected, together and strong to continue pushing our collective efforts successfully the way we've been doing. I ask you to not disrupt the organizing that's been done in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ishmael. So I see no other in the Q&A and no other hands. Commissioner, co-chairs, would you like to close public comment for this agenda item?
Yes, public comment is now closed. And now we get to do what we'd hoped to do, which is to have the commissioners talk about the maps. A couple things before we begin that process. First, and this is for the public as well to understand, the 4 maps that we had initially selected were sort of randomly labeled A, B, C, and D. There's no particular reason why one is one and one is another. So I thought it would make more sense this time just to go in reverse alphabetical order. We'll start with D, C, B, A, just to do it that way. We'll be talking about D1, C1, B1, and A1, the 1 being the slight tweaks that we all agreed were the low-hanging fruit that we can make modifications on. Pretty has made those and has posted those maps. and she will be showing them as part of the discussion. Second, I think we've all we've all had the opportunity to have a very extended Q&A with our voting polarization analysis consultants. And I think many of us are probably thinking about rethinking, their previous way they've analyzed the maps and thinking about these maps that we've selected in perhaps a different way. So I'm assuming we'll hear the public will hear some of that, and the commissioners will be able to talk to each other about that as well. Again, in this discussion, we're actually going to put up a clock, 2 minutes. We ask that you not go over that if at all possible, and ask the commissioners to limit themselves to focus on 2 questions. First, are there some specific changes, modifications, or whatever that you would like to see made in this particular map that we're focusing on? And if so, why? And second, what do you see are the benefits or detriments of that particular map? Again, you don't feel as if you need to speak each commissioner to each map, but that opportunity is available to you for each map if you want, if you feel you must. So let's start with D1. Maybe Priti can show us the D1 map just to get started.
Hi, can I get permission to share my screen?
Yes.
I'm sorry. So Gayla, you will need to make a Priti co-host.
I just did it.
I still don't have the ability to share.
I have it now. Check.
All right. Okay, I have map D here. D1. I have the CSAs in red outline, and I have the districts in different colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Commissioner Kenny?
Priti, are we looking at this in Esri so that you have the ability to focus in on specific geographic areas to show more detail?
Yes, I'm showing it in Esri desktop format where I can show you everything you need to.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ay, no, que no vaya a llorar.
Commissioner Holtzman?
I just want to point out, it's called ArcMap. I can see the name of the software there. It's not the same software that we have available to us online.
It is Esri desktop software, and the reason why I'm using it, because A and C, I have to use this. So I'm using this software for all the demonstrations. It's an Esri software platform.
How much does it cost?
It's an Esri platform. I think it's 2,500 or 4,000. I don't know. It's the desktop version.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there comments for this? And can we have, is it possible to put the clock up superimposed on this or not?
We would only be able to do that if Priti has the clock app, because we're sharing 2 different screens technically.
Okay, that's a glitch. But
I can do. I can do the timer, and I can put up a sign.
Okay.
If that would help.
It's low tech, but it should work. Okay, Ty, can you go ahead and call folks as they've raised their hands?
Of course. So we have Commissioner Stetcher, then Commissioner Kenny.
Thank you. There are no specific changes that I want to suggest to this map, but I want to point out that I am now less enamored of it than when I drew it. that based on the comments and conversations from the community, I don't think it captures a lot of the nuances that are captured in some of the other maps. And aside from a lot of love in the San Fernando Valley, I am willing to forego this map and move on with a primary consideration of the other three. Although I know there have been some modifications to this that we might want to look at. Thank you.
Commissioner Kenny, then Commissioner Morales, and Commissioner Wong.
Yes, I have two general comments. One is that any map that we adopt should be better than the existing county district map. And we have the score sheet that Pretty develops to show that. And currently, looking only at the original A, B, C, and D, only map B scores better than what is the current county map. And then secondly, I think that we should respect the geographic integrity of cities, local neighborhoods, and local communities of interest whenever possible. Specifically relating to map D, I decided to do an experiment and superimpose District 1 from map A onto map D and see what happened. And what happened was we end up with a map that still has the bottom part of the county divided in two pieces, which is very similar to what the state congressional draft map has done. And so I think that this map is worth keeping because of that concept of dividing the southern part of the county in two pieces. We might end up going in that direction. Thank you.
Commissioner Morales, then Commissioner Wong.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so now I'm kind of like, all right, which one is the better map, B or D? But thank you for your comments, Commissioner Stetcher, on that concept. For me, it's really looking at some of the public comment that we've had around keeping Southeast LA with Northeast LA and East LA, and this map doesn't quite do that. And then the other in the San Gabriel Valley, in the foothill area, some of the cities appear to be split or left out. So for instance, Monrovia looks like to be split in half, and Bradbury is not included, although I would consider that Monrovia Bradbury area quite a community of interest. So I have just kind of like those types of questions, but if we are narrowing down, then I would like to respect Commissioner Stetcher in his comment.
Commissioner Wong.
Yes, yes, I actually am very kind of happy or glad that Commissioner Stetcher, you know, realizes that perhaps his map doesn't reflect kind of the communities of interest, because, you know, I think even, you know, with the original philosophy of kind of trying to just find a center of the county and then dividing it up so that each supervisory district had a little bit of each part of the county, kind of goes against the whole idea of keeping communities of interest together. So I tend to agree with Commissioner Stetcher that this map probably, and I think we can kind of see that because when you compare it to looking at how it splits CSAs, how it splits cities and communities of interest, it doesn't do a very good job of keeping communities of interest together. And so I would agree with Commissioner Stetcher in terms of this map not being an ideal map to start with as a base map.
Commissioner Holtzman. Commissioner Holtzman, you're muted.
Sorry, I thought I hit the button, but I guess I went the wrong way. Very briefly, you know, the one thing I looked at near me with my experience is the San Fernando Valley, and this map does not managed to separate the working class, less well-off core of the valley from many of its surrounding neighborhoods. And yeah, whoever pointed out that you should include the part of the valley that's north of the 118 with Porter Ranch, Granada Hills, I thought was right. But having heard what Commissioner Stetcher said, I don't think it's, we don't need to go into too much more the detail or critique or requesting modifications to this map.
Co-Chair Maeda.
Yes, thank you. I think the concept of having diverse districts sounds appealing in theory, but I do think it violates the COIs that we've been working with for a while. I'll note that the map D divides Culver City, which I did not notice the first time around. Commissioner Kenny's map 44, which he had mentioned, does keep Culver City whole, but the main problem I have is just an illustration. If you look at District 2 in both the original as well as Commissioner Kenny's map, it combines the heart of the working class, Los Angeles Central District, Inglewood, Compton, Watts, South LA, with some of the most affluent parts of the county. Palos Verdes, Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach. It just doesn't sound like the kind of district that a supervisor could, effectively govern from. I just find it odd, and plus 44 breaks San Gabriel Valley into 3 districts, and so for that reason, it's also problematic to me. That's it.
I see no other commissioner hands. Commissioner Mendoza?
Thank you. Given what the map drawer Commissioner stated minutes ago, makes it easier to say, I think what I'm going to say is that I still refer to this map as the pinwheel. And I thought it was very novel. It is a big departure from what we have currently, and I continue to say I'm not in favor of fixing something that isn't broken, and this just seems a little bit too radical. And I agree with just about everything that I've heard the other commissioners say, including the map drawer. Thank you.
I see no other commissioner hands.
Okay, great. So people will be able to refer back to this map when we get to the last part of the discussion, but we're closing it off for now. And let's move to consideration of map option C1. Pretty, if you could show us that one.
Commissioner Orpanella Segura, do you have a question?
It was a comment on this map. I'm not sure if we're taking comments at this time or if we wanted to
Yes, we certainly can. I think Pretty has it up now, so.
Okay. I noted that this map doesn't reflect the feedback that we've heard last week, particularly in keeping the Northeast, East LA, Southeast LA areas together within District 1. I think there was strong support from community members to keep those areas together. And I don't see that reflected in this map.
Commissioner Kenny?
Yes, I think MALDEF did a very good job of presenting the map and presenting their rationale for the map. And the rationale explicitly favors Latinos at the expense of other racial and ethnic groups. For example, whites are packed into District 4. 62% of District 4 is white, And MALDEF complained that the existing District 1 is packed with 61% of Latinos. So, I mean, they didn't hide the ball. They were very explicit about it. But I'm bothered that the San Gabriel Valley is split into 3 districts. I think the treatment of the coastal area is really unacceptable. It's just too strung out. It's basically a north-south map, but I think the geography of Los Angeles County is more east-west. That's a summary of my comments.
Commissioner Stetcher, then Commissioner Saida Soto, and Co-Chair Maeda.
Thank you. I have a love-hate relationship with this map. I'm really intrigued with District 3, or the effort to link together the eastern, more working class neighborhoods of the San Fernando Valley with the center core of the city. But I absolutely hate Districts 4 and 5, the way they stretch beyond places where people identify as being familiar and in common neighborhoods to scoop out ethnic groups. It feels overly racially driven to me. So I was looking for other ways to try to accomplish some of what has been done with District 3, but I really don't like what they did to capture Asian Americans in District 5 by running a loop around the core of the San Gabriel Valley.
Commissioner Saida Soto.
Thanks, Ty. I share some of the same reflections or analysis as Commissioner Stetcher, which is that I think it does create some challenges in representation in District 5 by reaching down, kind of scooping into the San Gabriel Valley in the way that it does. While I think I initially really, was interested in this idea of connecting the San Fernando Valley and down into the East Los Angeles area and a little bit south from there, because of the, I think, commonalities in terms of those communities socioeconomically and other issues, environmental issues, et cetera, that they're both fighting to be represented on. I do think, however, that it really breaks apart the communities that they have already formed on their own to try and get these issues addressed and to build power by sort of bridging them through Burbank, Glendale, or some of these other communities. I think additionally, I think it reaches, the 4th district reaches south. And again, it almost, while it is connecting all parts of every single district, the way it reaches into these areas, I don't think is beneficial for representation. So for those reasons, I think I'm struggling with what kind of modifications. I think the modifications for it to be a stronger map would be significant. So I'm kind of struggling with where to start to some extent in addressing some of those challenges. Thank you.
Co-Chair Maeda, then Commissioner Morales.
I share many of the concerns that my fellow commissioners have talked about, and particularly the idea of the District 3 looks like a clever way to draw that district, and there is some bases for it in terms of putting working class communities together. But trying to keep that and change other things, it just doesn't seem like it would work. I do want to push back on Commissioner Kenny's comment that the map presenters explicitly said they're drawing a map essentially to favor Latinos or solely to favor Latinos. Clearly, this was a coalition effort that they drew upon, and they're trying to also address some of the needs of the Asian American communities. District 5 is a prime example of trying to do that, although I agree with others that is just an odd map that puts the North County, reaches way down into the San Gabriel Valley to capture, the area in the middle of, right in the middle of the map there. But then skirts around the rest of the San Gabriel Valley to reach Walnut and Roland Heights and Hacienda Heights. I think that's very odd. And I'm definitely concerned that this is the most race conscious of all the maps that we've had. If we had strong voter polarization analysis, statistics or bases to consider something like this, it would be a contender in my mind, but I don't think we have that situation. So this concerns me greatly.
Commissioner Morales, then Commissioner Holtzman.
Yeah, I want to focus on the better aspects of the map itself. So I think SD2, the way that it's, it doesn't cut up the southern region there as map B does. And so I do appreciate that particular aspect of the map. I think the San Gabriel Valley, being from the San Gabriel Valley and knowing and understanding the foothill regions, it does make sense that little extension on the far east to capture the cities. There is some commonality. And I do agree in terms of the Asian American inclusion of this is something that really speaks to me in terms of, having some level of representation. I just want to lift that up as we have this conversation.
Commissioner Holtzman, then Commissioner Wong.
So quickly, first off, I'm looking at this in the Arc Bridge presentation, and I do see that she's found a way to have LAX connected to the communities to the east with the greatest flight path and downwind impacts, but at the same time has a little land bridge that's available to connect north and south of there, a larger coastal district, District 4. And I would like going forward to have instructions on how to do that with our redistricting software if we're going to use this map going forward or a map like it. Other comment is that I am concerned with the record on this map after the presentation we got from the lawyer and his colleague that says we're not allowed to have creating minority majority districts as a primary rationale for a map. And the record shows at this point that that is the primary rationale for the map, and it may have been the reason why people voted for it. So I would suggest that if we're going to consider, this map going forward, we go back to square one and have a vote to ratify it as a continued a map for continued consideration. But without reference to the minority majority districts. And I'm not sure if without those it would be as attractive, without that rationale it would be as attractive to my fellow commissioners.
Commissioner Wong, then Commissioner Franklin.
Yes, thank you. So I actually like this map because I think it does try to although one could see that it's using race or ethnicity, I think we've got enough public comments and support from the community to explain why they're connecting up these different communities beyond the fact that they happen to be racial groups, because they have a history of similar cultures, a history of language, and the reason I like this map is because it actually allows different communities of interest to have an ability to elect candidates of their choice. Whether it is like the kind of this in kind of the South LA, where there's been a traditional a Black community, they have a very good chance of electing, a representative of their choice, and then connecting up the Latino communities the way they have allows there to be them to elect candidates, and then even trying to recognize that there are, because for the Asian, for some of the communities of interest, it's hard to connect it because it's not quite as discrete. So I appreciated their attempt to try to connect up certain discrete communities of interest, to maybe have it be kind of an influence district, and then again have an ability to elect a candidate of their choice. And so, you know, I like this map, and I want to explore how to take into other public comments that we've had. This has gotten a lot of community support, and they've have gone and gotten representation, you know, from and it does keep certain communities of interest together, and a lot of the groups that support this particular map, you know, I am familiar with. So I'm just interested in using this map as a base to explore whether or not we can find ways to tweak it to accommodate other community of interest. You know, I know I had asked, I think, as the map drawer, to see how to connect, if it was possible to connect, you know, Burbank, Glendale, and Pasadena together, or do that recommendation around I think the Stonehurst Avenue, and combining the western boundaries of the different rural areas together. I'm just kind of interested in trying to tweak this map to accommodate some of the other interests.
Commissioner Franklin? I believe you're muted, Commissioner Franklin.
Can you hear me now? Okay, I apologize. Looking at this map again, there are some positive aspects about this map, particularly Section 2. And as Commissioner Wong indicated, it does give the community the ability, particularly the strong African-American community, the ability to elect someone of their choice. Also, I'm looking at the fact that the thing that I don't like about it is, again, splitting up Long Beach. I don't like that. But it appears as though there was an objective to drafting this map, and there is no voter polarization, but or strong evidence of voter polarization as far as LA County is concerned. But it looks like it was drawn to seek out and to actually section off certain areas. But other than that, I do see some positive aspects of this as it relates to the African-American community in District 2.
I see no other commissioner hands.
Okay, let's move to B1 now. It is Preeti is bringing that up. If you want to speak to B1, please indicate so with your electronic hand.
Commissioner Kenny?
Yes, I would rather wait. Okay, so I had made a request of some of the people, some of the staff people, that Arkbridge be asked to create maps based on the community of interest maps that the committee created, the A, B, and C maps, as a point of comparison, so that we could see how a map that's strictly based on communities of interest might compare with some of these maps. And I just want to float that out there. I also did the same thing with this map that I did with map D, which is I changed District 1 so that it was the District 1 from map A, and to see what happened. And so I think that we can revise this map, create a combined map A, map B to address the concerns of the People's Bloc that we've heard so clearly. And that's my only comment on this map.
I see no other commissioner hands. Oh, okay. Commissioner Holtzman, then Co-Chair Maeda.
All right, so with this map, I have the same concern about the San Fernando Valley as I had with the map D. It doesn't separate the working class heart of the valley from any of the surrounding wealthy areas, and it doesn't have the San Fernando Valley, North San Fernando Valley, connected with its common area north of the 118. Again, with the record on this map, one of the points that was made in its favor is not just presented to us by demographers, is it's too strong majority-minority districts. And again, I would like to get a presentation on this map again that doesn't involve that, so we could vote on it again and create a cleaner record if we're going to continue to consider this map. There you go.
Co-Chair Maeda, then Commissioner Wong.
So in LA County, the 2020 census found that whites make up 32.5%, Latinos make up 48% of the population. Whites are less than a third, significantly less than, well, less than a third of the population. But B1 creates three districts in which, one district in which whites are literally the majority CVAP, and two others where whites are far and away the largest plurality. That's kind of surprising in this situation, but the answer lies in looking at District 2, where African Americans and Latinos are packed, I would argue, packed into that district. That district is over 90% minority. Commissioner Stecher's alternative map 42 doesn't fare too much better. District 2, in that case, actually is 94% minority. Commissioner Kenny's 45 splits Culver City. That could be fixed, but her supervisor of District 2 is 94% minority. To me, and I'm interested in getting our consultants' take on it, but to me, it is quite possible that an argument could be made that District 2 is an example of packing the minorities in that district. And that concerns me, because the ripple effect of that is reflected in districts 3, 4, and 5, where I think the chances are very high that well, I'll just leave it at that. I'm concerned about the possibility that District 2 is a district that is basically a packing of the Latino and African American voters.
Commissioner Wong, then Commissioner Morales.
Yes, I totally agree with Co-Chair Maeda. I have concerns about, without even, talking about it in terms of race, because these are historically discrete minority communities. And so we have actually two discrete minority communities competing with each other, or being put into two districts as Co-Chair Maeda pointed out, in District 2, you have, the African-American community that has historically been able to elect a candidate of their choice, who now is in a majority Latinx community or district, and may have a difficult time electing a candidate of their choice. And then also another historic, discrete community of interest of Asians in District 1 also has to compete with the majority Latinx community, so what you have is if you want to call the majority minority districts, but these are all communities of interest that have historically been have interest together. They are competing with each other in the two districts where there could possibly be, a minority candidate or minority supervisor. And then I think Co-Chair Maeda pointed out the other problem, of which might result in the status quo of having 3 white supervisors or supervisors from the other 3 districts where a candidate, where a minority community could not elect a candidate of choice. So I have serious problems with this particular map.
Commissioner Morales, then Commissioner Stetcher.
I would echo both the concerns of Commissioner Wong and Co-Chair Maeda in that regard. And for me, it's more specifically how this, even trying to balance this out in terms of District 2, because there is what Hawthorne, Lawndale is kept out of the south side there. And so, but it stretches out towards down. So I'm trying to figure out, like, how do you even go about trying to address some of these issues without fundamentally shifting the way that some of these districts look, the way they're drawn. So yeah, I mean, I won't go on, but I do echo what was already discussed by Commissioner Wong and Co-Chair Maeda.
Commissioner Stetcher, then Commissioner Franklin.
Thank you. Well, there are some places that I think this map could be improved, as someone has mentioned. And one of the first questions was about specific changes. And I think the northern part of the San Fernando Valley needs to be fixed. And I also think that when you look at the edges of District 2, there are places where this could do a better job of, could you hold the map still? Don't zoom in and out, because I'm going to talk about a number of different boundaries and it's hard to follow. So I think that you're right that District 2 needs to have, along its southern edge, perhaps more of the harbor communities. On its eastern side, some of those Latinx communities might belong better with the East Los Angeles section, and on the northeast of the red district, I think you could do a better job of treating some of the foothill communities. The other thing I wanted to raise, though, was the question of using the statistics. Thank you. I see the note, Gayla. I think it's hard to, on one map, say this is minorities make up 90% of a district, and then on the next map say Latinx community makes up a certain percent of the district, and in a sense, change the definition of who we're looking at to raise a critique. I'm not sure what the right way is to consider these mixed population districts that are a third, a third, a third, or 60%, 20%, 10%. But it does seem to me that in the comments, we've been shifting what we talk about.
Commissioner Franklin.
Yes, I really like this map. This encompasses the majority of public comments as relates to communities of interest. And this map was drawn with that in mind. Also, with the additional comments that public comments that we've received from other areas of the communities, they seem to be in favor of map B as well. The only thing that I can recommend on this map, looking at District 2, is to go down a little south to incorporate Rancho Dominguez as well. But other than that, I think the mapper did an excellent job in capturing the communities of interest.
Commissioner Orpanela Segura.
My only observation in this map is that there are two cities that are excluded from being kept together with Southeast LA, and I know that those have been some of the comments, is to keep Southeast LA communities together. From what I understand, Commerce and Bell Gardens are identified as part of the Southeast LA, and they're currently excluded from the majority of the communities that identify as SELA.
I see no other commissioner hands.
Okay, let's move now to A1 then.
Commissioner Kenny.
I don't like that the East San Gabriel Valley is split into 3 districts. I don't like that the South County is split into 3 districts. I don't like that the working class neighborhoods of the San Fernando Valley are combined with the coastal communities. South Pasadena is separated from Pasadena, San Marino, Temple City, I'm sorry, South Pasadena is separated from Pasadena and San Marino. Temple City and San Marino are separated from the Asian communities to the south. Long Beach is split, Torrance is split, El Segundo is split. District 3 is split from other districts along minor surface streets, which are actually residential streets. Lomita is split off from neighbors of similar demographics like Torrance and the San Pedro area. Torrance is part of the South Bay, but it's split off from District 3. The South Bay is grouped with Las Virgenes and Calabasas up to Silmar and Pacoima, with which it has nothing in common. Torrance is grouped with Pomona, with which it has not much in common. It's less compact than the current districts, and it splits more communities of interest than the current districts.
Commissioner Wong, then Commissioner Holtzman.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I do think that this map probably does need some, I would say, tweaking or some modifications. One thing I think, I think it's still not clear where LAX. I think it should be going into District 2 rather than 3. And I understand some of the other comments about keeping the West Side Neighborhood Council together. But overall, I think this map, to me, kind of reflects a lot of, we've gotten conflicting public comments, all the way through. But this map, I think, accounts for many of the public comments that we've gotten consistently throughout all of our public hearings. And I think the fact that it is supported by so many community groups that represent thousands, if not tens of thousands of community members that have worked very hard to try to negotiate and identify the communities of interest. And then, you know, because it's so hard to come up with a map that kind of pleases everybody, but I think they've documented all of the different meetings that they've had external from our public hearings, and they have come and developed this joint map that tries to keep historic communities of interest together. And a lot of these groups, you know, I'm familiar with, and they serve the communities, they know their communities. And you know, and the support for this map has been so consistent throughout all of our hearings that I really want to use this as a base map to see how we can adjust some of the modifications. I think map 34, Josh Wheeler's modifications, I think incorporate some of the differences. I know that Henry Fung also had some modifications, but I think map 34 even does a better job of incorporating some of the comments that people had.
Commissioner Holtzman, then Co-Chair Maeda.
Thank you. Again, I see this as a map that has LAX connected with the downwind, down runway, runway flight path impacts, which is great. And again, I hope we'll get instructions for how we can tweak this map and still have the ability to connect the district north and south of LAX on the west, which we don't yet because it's not in our software, but it's in ArcBridge's, the software ArcBridge is using. Anyway, I agree with Commissioner Kenny that you know, the working class heart of the valley being connected with so much of the wealthy nature adjacent really areas of the South Valley and below the hills in West Hollywood, Beverly Hills, etc., is not so great. But I really got to give it kudos for carving out some of the heart of the valley from the Granada Hills and West Valley areas. What I would like to see changed, though, if we're gonna use this map, I'd like to see the Santa Clarita Valley connected down, sort of as shown there, through Granada Hills and the west side of the valley, all the way to the Las Virgenes area that we were we've talked about, the whole West County coastal area, and then swinging back through the Palisades and along the the high real estate and still close to nature corridor that takes you up along Wilshire, Santa Monica Boulevard into Hollywood. And that would free up a lot of this District 3, if that was District 5, to be connected in some creative way, kind of like in the MALDEF map, to some of the communities to its southeast, to have the heart of the valley connected to some of the more kinful communities to its southeast, and then that would in turn perhaps allow expansion of District 1 into the San Gabriel Valley to keep the San Gabriel Valley from Pasadena East whole. Those are my thoughts about that. And I will leave it at that. And again, it might be a good idea for the record to hold another vote where the discussion doesn't seem to prioritize majority minority districts.
Co-Chair Maeda, then Commissioner Stetcher.
Thank you. So Commissioner Kenny pointed out a lot of the deficiencies or issues, at least, with this map, but I like it, and I think it provides a good basis for moving forward with certain kind of modifications. I agree with her that Torrance looks weird in the current setup. The Long Beach, Torrance to Pomona stretch seems odd. San Gabriel Valley split into 3 groups, etc. However, as Commissioner Wong pointed out, Josh Wheeler's map 34 addresses many of these issues, as does Henry Fong's map 36. I like each of those maps, preferably, I like each of those maps to the A1. And I think I like each of those maps better than any of the other maps we've been looking at. I would certainly commend the commission to examine those. They're different maps and I like them for different reasons, but each of them start with the basic map A, keep most of District 1, except trying to address the San Gabriel Valley issue. In the case of Josh Wheeler's map, he has a plan to bring in, as Commissioner Holtzman has pointed out, the more working class areas of the San Fernando Valley and keep those or put those with the North County area. And in his view, attempt to create a sort of a working class coalition type district in the North Valley. Interesting ideas. I think there are ones we should consider, and I would be in favor of looking more at those.
Commissioner Stetcher, then Co-Chair Williams.
I have a question. Commissioner Kenny makes the statement that this map doesn't do as good a job as the current supervisorial districts, and I don't know where that evidence is. How can I see that and make that comparison?
I'm looking at Pretty's score sheet.
I'm just going to load the current supervisorial district so that you can see that, if that would help.
I'm sorry, I don't need them on the map. I just needed to know.
The number of CSAs that are split and the number of neighborhood councils.
Okay.
It's really the CSAs.
Okay.
So can we do that part offline? I mean,
Yes.
it's a valid point. I don't want to spend time trying to make that happen live in front of us.
Yeah, that's fine. So that was my first question, is I didn't know how I could confirm or contradict that point. I agree very much with what Co-Chair Maeda said about this map and others being a good starting place, needing a lot of tweaking. And I'm not sure we could all agree on how it would be tweaked. I'm not fond of the idea of dropping the North County all the way down to the Pacific Ocean. But I do think this would be something we could use as a starting place to try to make some adaptations and satisfy ourselves better.
Co-Chair Williams.
I just want to say I agree with a lot of the comments that have already been said about this map, but I think it does have potential for us to look at. And as has already been pointed out, maps 34 and 36 have tried to address a lot of those. But one of the things I appreciate is that there is documentation of organizations having input into communities, and that this map, communities of interest, and that this map is trying to be reflective of that. So I think it has a lot of potential, and I think it's something if we can tweak things and clean it up a little bit better, I think it has a lot of potential, and it's something that we need to continue to look at as a commission.
I see no other commissioner hands.
Okay. Are there commissioners who want to put up on the board, essentially, any maps that we have not yet talked about? I would want people to look at 34 and 36, but I've mentioned them. But I guess what I'm looking for is something new that has come in, or if someone wants to now make a pitch for something that has previously been submitted that has perhaps been overlooked. This is your time to speak on that issue.
Commissioner Kenny.
I don't have a specific map to refer to, but I do agree with comments that were made earlier this evening that rather than including the North San Gabriel Valley with District 5, it makes more sense to include the North San Fernando Valley with District 5. And none of the maps that, the 4 maps that we're considering really do that. I don't know if any of the other maps accomplish that. It's just a comment that I'm making.
Okay, so if you don't mind, if we could hold those kind of comments and just maybe there are no other maps that people want to put on the board, but I want to make sure that there's an opportunity for people to do that if you do want to put up a map on the board.
Commissioner Mendoza, then Commissioner Holtzman.
To Commissioner Kenny's statement, I'm not sure I understood that. I'm familiar with the San Gabriel Valley pretty well, having lived in it for decades, both the north part as well as the central or southern part. What were you saying about the northern county or part of the San Gabriel Valley, Commissioner Kenny?
Well, right now it's included in District 5. And
Right.
I'm just commenting that rather than including the North San Gabriel Valley with District 5, that you include the North San Fernando Valley with District 5.
Okay, to that point, I understood. To that point, I would submit that Glendora, Laverne, San Dimas, Arcadia, Bradbury, these northern, these are the foothill communities, and I think they would have more in common with Antelope Valley and over the mountain basically than the southerly part of the county with the Montebello, La Puente, Pico Rivera, Whittier. So we talked about it before, at least I have. The San Gabriel Valley is almost 40% of all the cities in Los Angeles County itself. So it's very different. That's my only point.
Commissioner Holtzman.
On that, I'm mindful of the public comment we heard earlier about how there's no real direct driving connection between the foothill communities in eastern San Gabriel Valley and the Antelope Valley. But that's not what I raised my hand to mention, to talk about. I did, but just this morning, I think it was, or late last night, submit a couple of maps using the 3 stripes concept I previously floated. And that was, I did that finally when I finally figured out how to specify how to draw my proposals correctly by splitting up an RDU and assigning one of its census tracts to one of the districts, and then subtracting some of the RDUs from another district that I submitted as part of my map, just because I had to get this the software to accept the submission. So maybe at the next meeting I can explain those, and maybe also at the next meeting I have another map I'm just about ready to submit, which has some of the concepts we've been talking about just now involved. It's also designed around making sure that the impacts of the airport are connected with the airport itself in districting. So I'm looking forward to perhaps discussion of those next time. Thank you.
I see no other commissioner hands.
Okay, so just so it's clear what I'm talking about, no other commissioner who's present at this meeting right now wants to talk about another map that has not yet been talked about. I'm not saying this is your only chance, but I just want to be clear that this is what I'm asking at this point.
Commissioner Mendoza, then Commissioner Morales, and Commissioner Obregon.
Earlier in the meeting, the executive director pointed out there was, I forget the number, 47 maps submitted, thereabouts.
49. So
49.
We just need to refresh the page.
Okay, is there a process, or are we going to be somehow reviewing these maps, or are we at a point now where it's just really not feasible?
Every commissioner is charged with reviewing the maps that are posted on the hub If you have questions or you like something, you want to bring it to our attention, this is your opportunity. It's not the only opportunity, but I want to make sure we have that opportunity right now. But please do not wait for someone to bring things to your attention. Everybody should be looking at the maps themselves and trying to assess them. And the public should be aware that the commissioners are charged with doing that. So thank you for continuing to submit your ideas. We will be looking at those, and we have until the end basically to consider them. Although obviously your chances of having the serious consideration of a full-blown map in December is not as good as having it now.
Commissioner Morales and Commissioner Obregon.
I just want to point out, Commissioner Mendoza, I'm displaying right now the maps that have been submitted since you adopted your 4 options. They're what are on the screen right now.
Thank you.
Commissioner Morales.
Thank you. In that spirit, yeah, I'm just taking a look at the map 36, the modified plan A, the Fong map. Yeah, I think, that I'm not interested in like totally introducing something completely different. I think we have some good starting points for what we're trying to accomplish here. And so looking at something that's tweaked in order to represent what has been said, I think it's worth it. I don't feel we need to spend the night doing that today. But I also would encourage folks to take a look at these maps as compared to option A, because they do address some of the issues that were brought up.
Commissioner Obregon, then Commissioner Stetcher.
Yeah, I did review all the maps and trying to see something that made sense for my eyes. And map 33, and if we could see it, or if we can maybe bring it up. I don't know if that's possible. By Michael Alawos. Yeah, there we go, I think. Wow. This pretty much keeps the San Gabriel Valley intact. This has the Antelope Valley connected to the San Fernando Valley. It's got the west side, and then it's got a south and a southeast. And the areas really do look very compact. Where I think a little bit weak is I think it breaks up the African-American strength.
Yep.
It breaks them up into 2 parts. But as a point of working, we can maybe use this one. And because of its compactness, and make some adjustments in it. So that was what the map that was jumped in my eyes. Thank you.
Commissioner Stetcher.
You're muted.
Commissioner Stetcher, you are muted.
I'm sorry, I wanted us to look at map 25, which is more like those we were considering before, but I think does a better job of connecting the African-American community, linking the San Fernando Valley in a reasonable way with the North County, and keeping the San Gabriel Valley together.
Confirming map 25.
Yes, map 25 by Bob Huff.
Oops, it just went dark. I'm frozen.
It was there momentarily.
I'm frozen.
Can Pretty bring it up?
Yeah.
Let me try.
Gail, are you able to stop screen sharing now?
I can't. I'm stuck.
PT should be able to override the screen
Oh,
share.
okay. Well, maybe while we are sorting that out, can we go ahead and take our 10-minute break? Come back to power through the last hour?
Co-Chair Williams, I see your hand is up.
I wanted to make sure we also looked at map 36.
Okay. So there's been a request to do another map. You can bring that one back, but while we're trying to sort out the screen sharing, why don't we take a 10-minute break?
Okay.
Can we do that? Come back at 9 o'clock, please. Hopefully by then we'll have figured this out. Thank you.
Is on break?
My system's not working. I can't get out of it.
Gila, you are not muted.
Hi, Ty. I was just in the process of calling you. I have a blank screen and I'm not allowed to get out.
Okay, so Gila, I would recommend just restarting your computer. We will still be here.
Okay, so it's still being recorded. I have one more minute before the break's up. And I'm sorry, my screen just froze. So maybe we should let Pretty, are you able to put up the maps, the optional maps?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, great.
Can somebody tell me what map Commissioner, was it Commissioner Williams suggested? I didn't catch that.
Map
025.
Which one? Is it 25?
No,
Yeah.
I
Thank you.
suggested
36.
I suggested 25. I don't know what
Yeah.
Commissioner Williams suggested.
So the maps I have down are 25, 34, 33, and 36 have been brought up.
Oh, okay. 33, 35, 36, 34.
33, 34, 25, and 36.
Thank you. Well, okay, let me.
Can we come back now, please? So we have determined that our executive director's computer has frozen. So I believe Pretty is going to put up the maps that folks want to consider. And I think Commissioner Stetcher, you're up with map 33, no, 25. Did I get that right?
You got the map number right.
Okay.
And I can't say a great deal about it because I haven't studied it in preparation for this, except that it accomplishes a lot of what we've been talking about. It keeps the beach communities together in the South. It has a strong district in the traditionally African-American neighborhoods. Most of the San Gabriel Valley is kept together. The San Fernando Valley extends out into the lower parts of North County. It looks like something we could start tweaking. I looked briefly, and it only has one district where, looking at citizen voting age population, the majority are Latino. A second where it's close, but not a full majority.
Are we discussing it now or because I guess looking at the right, the voting age population, it does seem like it packs a lot of Latinos, or at least into one district, so it kind of dilutes their presence in the other districts, and which is why there's only one majority minority district. But and it would.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the co-chairs want us to do in this conversation when we throw out another potential map.
I think it's okay to have brief conversation about it. So if there are comments, my comment was, this sure looks like a lot like the existing map in some ways. And I particularly don't like the U around the bottom. I always find that very odd reason to, or basis for a map, but that's, I haven't studied this one much other than initially looking at it.
Mr. Mendoza?
Yes, with regard to this map, I was in favor of it initially. It didn't garner the votes needed to bring it forward. So I think it does some really good things. And if we wanted to tweak it or even hear from the person, and maybe it's a little bit too late to have that done, but the map drawer, we probably could do that.
I see no other commissioner hands.
Co-Chair Williams, I believe you wanted to present a map.
Yes, I wanted us to also consider map 36 by, I think it's Henry Fong, who was looking at map A and addressing a lot of the comments about that. So I think it's something for us to consider. I'd like to see us consider that.
I think that some of the commissioners recommended both, I guess, as modifications of a 34, which is Josh Wheeler's map, and 36, which is Henry Fung's map, right? Are we, and I think Josh Wheeler's map's also a contender, but so are we moving forward the modifications then, or?
Not yet. There's been no motion, but at this point, we want just to have an opportunity for commissioners to bring forward a map for us to look at and consider.
Preeti, these are further up. They came in later, and they came in before, they appear before those maps. Keep going. There.
Yeah, I think he really documented the changes that were made.
Yes, I have a slide on the listed documentation, and it should be on the summary there as well. It's quite extensive. And I've shared it. It's posted on the website, and I've sent it out to the commissioners.
Okay, so again, I just like to think this is one we can consider as well.
Any specific comments about 36?
Could you zoom in slightly more?
I do think it would be helpful to scroll down and show the text, because that does delineate the modifications in great detail. And then it's more detailed. Do you want me to put up the details?
Sure.
I'm going to share the screen then, Pretty, and I'm working from 2 computers, so I'm going to have to switch over.
A question for a clarification. I guess I'm trying to figure out how we're proceeding. If we're going to expand the number of maps we're looking at now, and then try to reduce them in our next meeting.
That would be one possibility.
I would propose that we might like replace the like modified A1 with either 36 or 34.
Let's take it a step at a time, if you don't mind. Here are the notes that Henry Fung provided for his 36, which is a modified A.
So basically, for the comments that were made by the public and commissioners, he tweaked the map. He made changes to address those.
Commissioner Holzman?
This is pretty detailed. And I just found that it's in the PowerPoint for the meeting that was posted. But to me, a PowerPoint is something you watch during the meeting. If we have things like that for the commissioners and the public to consider new information, I would much prefer, if in the future at least, they are posted separately as input. I don't think the public and commissioners should be expected to scroll through the PowerPoint for a meeting before the meeting itself.
Actually, this information was emailed to you all individually, and I believe it's part of the packet when you go into the details from Henry Fong. So we did provide it to you both ways. I had sent it out to you actually thinking we might get to this point at the last meeting, but we didn't have enough time. So it
it's in the public comments that were posted too?
No,
Yes.
it's with the map.
They are also included in the public comments, as well as on the Esri software. If you were to open any plan, you can also see any attachments that the users may attach to their plans. So for OP036, you would be able to go under the share button and see those.
Ty, you want to show them where they are? And that is correct. They were part of the public comments posted for our last meeting as well.
For our last meeting?
Yeah, because this map was submitted for the last meeting.
I don't see them in the public comments for tonight.
They were at the last meeting. And we didn't get to this agenda, get into this level of detail, which we had hoped to.
So for when users attach any document to their shared plans, they are you can view them under the Share tab and click on Attach Files, and you will see what they attached. As Henry Fung has mentioned in the summary as well, to look at the attached document, which are available here, as well as the public comment, as Henry Fung has submitted to both avenues.
Oh, okay. I have never noticed the attach file function before. Okay, so I sent you a separate file to attach to my last two maps. Maybe I should go back and redo it, or can you attach the file for me?
That I can do either or. I've also attached to your plans that you submitted a link to the specific document that is hosted on the website.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments people want to make about 36?
And do you want that slide up any longer, or are you okay?
Unless someone wants it up.
Okay.
Okay. Any other maps people want to put up for consideration at this point? Okay.
I guess I would put forward a 36. Is that Josh?
That is 36, right?
Did you mean 34, Commissioner Wong?
Oh, I'm trying to 34. Maybe it is 34.
34 is Josh Wheeler's
Yes,
modification.
I would, I guess, propose, considering 34. Sorry.
Let's go ahead and look at that then.
Again, it's a modification, I guess, of map A.
Preeti, would you like to share, or would you like me to share it?
You can share, Ty, if you would like.
Of course. Okay, and commissioners, feel free to let me know if you prefer to view any of these maps also on the Esri software rather than the hub. Again, there's pros to both. Just let me know your preference.
You might want to come a little closer on that one. Commissioner Wong, did you want to make any remarks about it?
No, it's just that, I think what he did was similar to what Henry Fung did, but it's more compact. It's even more, I think, compact than Henry Fung's, because it, I think it disconnected this area, like connecting, I think it disconnects Pomona going all the way south. At any rate, it makes it a little more, connects San Gabriel Valley a little more together. And then also doesn't, I guess, put some of the San Fernando Valley up with District 5. It looks a little bit cleaner.
Commissioner Stetcher, then Co-Chair Maeda.
What concerns me about this initially is it totally destroys the Burbank-Glendale-Pasadena connection that we heard a lot about. And I don't mind clumping the San Fernando Valley with the North County, but it does it in an odd way that I don't exactly understand on the western side. So I didn't want to look further, but I think in the end, we're going to have to make a tough choice. that we can't get everything we want. And there will be some communities that we've heard about that we're going to have to split up.
Co-Chair Maeda?
Commissioner Stetra, there's no doubt about it, right? You can't both keep the entire San Fernando Valley together and create a working class, protect the working class parts of the San Fernando Valley. That's not, they're inconsistent. So it's hard. And then the Tri-Cities play such a pivotal role because it's a pretty significant population center, no matter how you go. So the only thing I wanted to mention about this is both Commissioners Holtzman and Kinney mentioned that they thought North County should be reaching down into the San Fernando Valley, perhaps more so than the San Gabriel Valley. Although Commissioner Mendoza, I believe, mentioned that he thought the foothill communities still belonged. I think this map actually does, if I'm not mistaken, have some of the foothill communities together with North County. But more significantly, what Josh Wheeler did in 34 that's different than what Henry Fung did is he brought the North County down into the working class areas of the San Fernando Valley. So that's a specific attempt to try to address that particular issue, which of course does not make the San Fernando Valley kept whole people happy, but nevertheless, that's what he was trying to do there. So that's why I say for different reasons, I like 34, but I also like 36, and I think both ought to be considered.
Commissioner Franklin?
Yes, with this map, it does the reverse to me, in my mind, concerning Torrance, the previous map, connecting Torrance to Pomona. Here on this map, it seems to connect the affluent area of Rancho Palos Verdes, Beverly Hills, snaking on up to Glendale, Pasadena, and Arcadia. That's the problem that I have with this particular map.
I see no other commissioner hands.
Okay. Any other?
Commissioner
Yes.
Holtzman?
I just wanted to say my plan 32, you can completely take it down off the hub if you like. I was just trying to get some statistics when the plan was processed, and I have those statistics now. Thank you.
I see no other commissioner hands.
Okay. What I would like to do now in the time remaining is to go round robin and try to keep your comments to 2 minutes or less again, but hear from more of you. And also, if you have proposals, if you want to make a motion to put one of these maps, these other maps up for public review, we could do that. It's not a endorsement by any stretch, but it's an idea like we did for the original 4. These are maps we think we'd like to hear the public comment on for our next public hearing on Wednesday. So we're happy to hear that, or if you have other comments about any of the activities of today, since now you've heard some of us at least talk about those maps. So Ty, can you, I don't know where we left off exactly, but if you can just call on folks.
Co-Chair Williams, you have your hand up?
Yes, can we at least list the maps that we're talking about right now? It'd be nice if we could have that listed. I don't know, I guess Gayla can you share your screen so we'll know which ones we're talking about?
Or we could write it down, I guess.
Or right, yeah, or something, so we'll know which ones we're considering and how many.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to put up the numbers that you've already looked at, or should I wait till we do the round robin?
I think she's asking about the ones that people wanted to put up.
Yes.
Yeah, that we want to consider.
And I'll put names by them.
Okay.
Where I have them. Oh, the 32 we're taking down, sorry. Or we can, it's just a placeholder. I don't have the name for 25. Was that Ross, was his name?
Bob Huff.
Bob.
Huff, Huff.
HUFF, okay.
That's Senator Bob Huff, former Republican leader of the state Senate.
And what was Josh's last name? Do we know?
Wheeler.
Okay.
So to start off the round robin, we will start with Commissioner Vento.
Where do I begin? I mean, I'm gonna make my points real quick here. I feel so overwhelmed. There's so many choices that I am trying to find more commonality. And so I don't really have a specific map right now. Will just say that the last map that I believe Commissioner Maeda put up, 34, I thought was actual something to consider. I would be willing to support a motion to consider that one if we did it. I think it was 34, but right now I'm just kind of overwhelmed by the different maps, and I'm still trying to make some decisions. So I'm not at a point to vote yet.
Co-Chair Williams.
Out of the ones that we're seeing, I like 34 and 36. Somehow to find a way to blend those or moving forward, but I like to consider both 34 and 36.
Commissioner Wong.
So just to clarify, I'm sorry. These are just comments on these 4 maps, correct? Not on.
If you want to make comments beyond that about any of the things that we've talked about today, that's fine. This is a free opportunity to
Okay.
explain to other commissioners what your priorities are and if you have motions or whatever.
Okay. I understand. Okay, so my priorities would be to move forward maps modified C1 and probably rather than modified A1 would probably like either 34 or 36, one of those 2 maps as to replace map A1. But those are the 2 maps that I would like to see move forward with and try to tweak it to kind of accommodate some of the other communities of interest that have been, the issues that have been raised.
Commissioner Franklin.
Yes, only one map here, 36 Henry Fong. And then of course, map A and map B.
Commissioner Holtzman.
Observation. I sometimes have trouble understanding what letter people are saying. Perhaps in the future we can use like Alpha, Bravo, etc., or something like that. Just a thought, please hold that thought. I look forward to seeing my maps 46 and 47 in ArcBridge's software format because ArcBridge can draw them correctly. And perhaps we'll have time to talk about them at next meeting. But as far as I'm concerned at this meeting, I would like the time between now and Wednesday to process what we've seen. So I'm not going to advocate putting forward any more maps at this point.
Commissioner Kenny.
I'm in favor of putting forward additional maps, and these look like good candidates to me.
Co-Chair Maeda.
Thank you. I had been mentioning 34 and 36. I do think those are very strong contenders. I have a hard time picking between those 2 myself. I like each of them for different reasons. I do not favor moving forward 25 because I think it's basically this, it's very, very similar to what we currently have. And there have been many issues that have been raised about the current setup as indicated by our COIs. And nor do I care for the 33 is very compact, but that's really the only thing I could say about it. That is that it's to its favor. Otherwise, I think it really violates most of our COIs. So I would like to move that we put forward 34 and 36 at this stage, just for public review at our upcoming public hearing on Wednesday. Again, these may not be the maps. We may reject them at some point. We're hopefully going to make some significant changes this week. But I think that I'd like to hear from the public as to what they think of these two alternatives to A1.
Commissioner Mendoza?
Thank you. I happen to be in favor of moving forward map 25 that initially Commissioner Setcher spoke to today. And I want to make a general comment, if I may. Meeting or two ago, Commissioner Sarasota asked about how do we consider what my word, not hers, what elected officials have to say, and something along those lines, and how should we? And my position is, I believe we put a fair amount of stock in what we've heard from community-based groups, nonprofits. Many commissioners have far more familiarity with and affiliation with these groups than myself, and I think that's wonderful. But I also think that we need to be more mindful that elected officials in theory and hopefully practice are elected by their constituents for the purpose of representing them, and that's what they're doing. Similarly, city managers, works directors, planning directors, and we've heard from a few of them, are nonpartisan positions in local government with the responsibility to represent and advocate for their respective jurisdictions. So it almost, I think we want to hear from everybody, and who we've heard from thus far, I think, are the 501c3 groups. That's what I believe. And I think it's my biased opinion that where race just seems to be so predominant. And it feels like to me that that's what we're looking through the windshield at, and not the other indicators as much. We're not really talking about some of the other things that we have in the past, but race seems to just be so predominant in these discussions. That's all I have to say.
Commissioner Morales?
Yeah, so just in terms of the maps that I would see, I agree 34 and 36. In terms of public comment, people are normally self-interested, and if it impacts their community, they're going to step up and say something about it. So I do add credence to the C3 organizations that are doing the outreach to their communities, and we've been able to get a clear snapshot of these communities of interest. So, we want more public comment always, but I think we do have to pay attention to these communities of interest, since we are adding that much more emphasis, given what we learned just last week. So we have to bear that in mind.
Commissioner Obregon?
When you look at map 33, it kind of balances a lot of the racial numbers. It's very balanced. So I still, if we look at 33, it does look very fair-minded. And that's my only comment. Thank you.
Commissioner Orpanela Segura?
Yes, I'm having a little bit of a hard time distinguishing 34 from 36, and do feel like I need more time to closely look at where the differences lie. So for that reason, I would be supportive of adding those two to the queue, just so that I'm able at least to distinguish the differences.
Commissioner Saider Soto?
I'm in support of moving map 34 and 36 forward for community or public review and feedback. And I think certainly thinking about map C, I think after hearing some of my fellow commissioners' reflections around why sort of the cutout or the reach into the San Gabriel Valley makes sense, as well as I think the important points made about District 2 and the way that it's drawn in that map. So I'm going to go back and review that map with the commission's perspective. And then I think in terms of map A, I still think it's a very strong map, and I'm not necessarily yet ready to replace that map with either of the map 34 or 36, but I do have an interest in looking at what it might look like if we go back to what we heard from a lot of community members about keeping Southeast LA, East LA, and Northeast LA together, which I think map A doesn't currently do. And so I want to explore that further. And then I also really appreciate just what we heard today from Maria Brenes from Inner City Struggle, which was again a reminder that there's great value in these community organizations. There's a purpose that I think is very valuable with these community organizations, serving as sort of course, an organizer on the ground to make sure that communities know about this process. That is what we asked for. It is a very important part of our work in hearing from them. And I think they've done a really great job and a really extensive job in bringing voices together. And then I think it was People's Bloc who said that there were areas that they didn't either seek input from or they didn't have relationships in, that it might be worth us looking at a little bit closer. And like, for example, Duarte was one example. It's like I don't think they spoke to organizations in Duarte. And there maybe were other areas of the county where they just didn't have reach into. And that may be evident when we look at their response and their, I think, list of communities and organizations that they spoke to. So thank you.
Commissioner Stetcher.
Thank you. I'm actually prepared to vote to drop map D1, although we don't have to do that tonight. I'd be willing to add the maps that have been discussed, 36 and 34. I'd like a day to try tweaking map B1 to see if I can address some of Co-Chair Maeda's concerns. And I think in the end, maybe next time we meet, we might want to consider drawing our own map. We've learned a lot from looking at these. I don't think we're going to get the perfect map submitted by the public. And at some point we should start shifting our activity to taking some base map and beginning to draw the districts that we want to see connected on that map.
I believe all commissioners now have had the opportunity.
Great. Chair's prerogative just to make a couple comments on the last few comments. Commissioner Stetcher, you have been very diligent, as well as Commissioner Kenny and Commissioner Holtzman, at trying to draw the maps. I encourage all of you, if you haven't yet tried to do it, to try it, including members of the public, and you will find just how difficult it can be to do it. I'm a little bit concerned about the idea that we're going to get 15 more maps from commissioners, that we need to process in some way. But just in terms of taking a map and tweaking it and seeing what it's like for yourself, I certainly encourage that. I wouldn't necessarily post them all to the hub, but to do it for yourself to see what it's like. Yes, I encourage that.
I'm sorry, could I interrupt just for a second? That isn't really what I meant. I meant that as a group, we would have a map on the left-hand side of our screen, and we would give directions to Pretty to say, now let's connect El Monte and South El Monte and see what happens.
So I think that's quite possible. I think it's pretty unwieldy with 4 to 6 maps or so, right? So maybe at another stage as we narrow things down, that might be a good exercise. And again, even if we do narrow things down and we get to couple 2 or 3, those maps will still be tweaked. We'll still be trying to address cities, COIs, neighborhood councils, whatever, as we go. We still have time to do that. There was something else I just flew out of my head. Okay, so I've moved. It's been moved. Is there a second to presenting 34 and 36 also as alternative maps for the public to comment on for our next
Second.
upcoming public hearing?
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I guess Commissioner Stetcher seconded.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. To do that, is there further discussion? Commissioner Kenny?
Please confirm who was a second.
Commissioner Stetcher.
Can I make an amendment to the motion, which is that we add all 4 of the suggested maps?
Of course, you can, if you'd like to make that as an amended motion, I would not accept that as a friendly amendment because it defeats what I'm trying to do. But do you want to make that as an amended motion?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Was that Commissioner Mendoza?
Yes.
Okay. Is there further discussion on that point, on that motion, amended motion?
Commissioner Stetcher, you have your hand up. And
Yes, I'd like to, can I offer an amendment to the amendment?
I
Well,
believe
I don't think there's support for seeing map 33. And I don't remember hearing that. That was the point I wanted to make.
That was Commissioner Obregon.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to put all 4 maps into contention in terms of bringing it to the public as maps that we want public comment on. Yes, Commissioner Kenny.
I just want to explain my rationale
Sure.
for doing that, which is I think that these maps present different approaches to the map making process. And I kind of like the idea of opening it up a little more.
Any other comment about the amended motion?
Commissioner Stetcher?
Yes, I note that it's November 15th and we have to have a map issued by December 15th, and I don't want to expand into novel ways of looking at maps as much as try to focus on the things we generally agree upon are the key things to be included in a final map.
Any other comments before we vote? Ty, let's take a vote on the motion, the amended motion, and that is to put all 4 of these maps, 25, 33, 34, and 36 as commission maps to present to the public for a public hearing on Wednesday. Ty.
Commissioners, please be prepared to unmute your mic and respond when your name is called. I will now take roll call. Co-Chair Williams?
No.
Commissioner Wong?
No.
Commissioner Franklin?
No.
Commissioner Holtzman?
Abstain.
Commissioner Kenny?
Yes.
Co-Chair Maeda?
No.
Commissioner Mendoza?
Aye.
Commissioner Morales?
No.
Commissioner Obregon?
Yes.
Commissioner Orpanella Segura?
No.
Commissioner Sider Soto?
No.
Commissioner Stetcher?
No.
Commissioner Vento?
No.
Motion fails.
Any further discussion on the original motion, which is to put forward 34 and 36? Seeing, yes.
Morales?
Just clarification. I know Commissioner Stetcher said he was willing to drop D1. Could we be able to, well, maybe entertain an amendment to this motion?
So Co-Chair Williams and I discussed process, I guess. I think it wouldn't be the end of the world, obviously, if we wanted to reduce the maps at this stage. there is some sense that perhaps we shouldn't do that yet because we've only had one public hearing. I know people could make comments today as well, but we only had one public hearing. We have another one in 2 days. There may be folks who are ready to bring their people Wednesday to talk about why D is the best. And if we cut, I'm not sure I want to cut them off. In other words, let's play it out. It's 2 more days. I don't think it would hamper us tremendously if we still raise that point, which I think is a significant point, and perhaps we'll carry the day on Wednesday. But that's my suggestion. If folks feel strongly about it, I won't stand in the way. I mean, we can do that.
That's fine.
Okay, so the motion, unless there's further discussion, is on adopting 34 and 36 for public review. Ty, can you go ahead and run the roll?
I will now take roll call. Commissioner Wong,
Yes.
Commissioner Franklin,
Yes.
Commissioner Holtzman,
Abstain.
Commissioner Kenny,
Yes.
Co-Chair Maeda,
Yes.
Commissioner Mendoza,
Aye.
Commissioner Morales,
Yes.
Commissioner Obregon,
Abstain.
Commissioner Orpanela Segura,
Yes.
Commissioner Sider Soto,
Yes.
Commissioner Stetcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Venta,
Yes.
Co-Chair Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Staff, if you would, what needs to be done in order to present this? I guess it needs to be posted as an amended part of the agenda. Is that what needs to be done?
Yeah, we will post an amended agenda and include just the images of the maps included in that agenda. And then with the links to the more detailed, their ability to get into Esri, et cetera, also on the agenda.
Great.
For clarification, for these additional, for OP 34 and OP 36, would you like them to be labeled as OP 34 and OP 36 or as option E and F? Or option A2, A3?
Thank you. So that's a live question. It could be A2 and A3. It could be E and F. Holly, is there any legal distinction that should be brought to bear?
No.
Or it could be 34 and 36 at this point until we decide further. Actually, I hadn't thought about that. Anybody want to make a rational argument for why we should do one or the other? One thing or
my
another?
concern, if we call it A2 and A3, people will think it replaces A1.
You're right.
So I think we should do E and F and let them stand on their own merit for input. But
any objections to that? Okay, let's do that. That makes sense. That's right. That makes sense. E and F.
Yes, I have a question on the scorecard. So could Pretty issue a revised scorecard that shows all the maps and separately the maps that are under consideration? And if somehow we could be informed as to how to access that scorecard in time for the meeting on Wednesday.
Already have issued a scorecard which has up to 47, and we have sent an email with the ones which are being considered, and we will add the data for E and F on it.
Could you have a separate one for E and F so that we can have a, so that we can have the main maps and then the list of all the maps, which is what we had previously, but I don't know where to access it either. So if we could just be informed as to how to access it.
so let me show you where we were posting it. It's in the hub.
It's
Can
in
you
the
all-
hub and also under the meeting tab for today's meeting. I think they were added today though, so you may have missed that.
And we just got the latest scorecard like at 5:30. But here's a scorecard here. You would click here to see the scorecard.
Okay, so that's going to have the new ones that we've added. Yes. So now that's going to have the new ones that we've added.
Yeah. And then Ty has also posted it with the meeting, so I can show you where that would be as well. Let me get my because I got bounced off of my computer. I'm working with two computers here, so bear with me for a second here. So if you go back to the regular home to meetings, you're still able to see my screen here.
Yes.
Meetings. So if you look here for today's meeting, the scorecard is there and says updated November 15th. Do you see that?
And when was that posted?
That was posted maybe around 5:30 or 6 when we received it.
Yeah, maybe we could get that up a little quicker, if you don't mind.
So we get it up pretty, how long can it take you to turn it around? Because we put it, Ty puts it up as soon as he gets it.
Yeah, I think we did, we'll do better. It's just a lot of work to get the statistics out. So we'll do it as soon as we can.
But I think also originally we wanted to put a scorecard of all the maps that were submitted. And then what Commissioner Kenny is talking about is what we had also discussed was just a separate scorecard of the current contenders. So the A1, B1, C1, D1, E, and F.
Yeah.
Okay.
Commissioner Holtzman?
Thank you. A request, please, when you're posting the image on the revised agenda of each of the maps we're putting forward now, please put them up in the format that ArcBridge Pretty can generate with her desktop software with the colors. And also, there's specific instructions on splitting that RDU that has LAX to properly depict at least number 36, I'm looking at it here, so that LAX is an SD2 and Backwater Beach is an SD3. So please have that properly illustrated when you put the image of the plans on the agenda. Thank you.
So we also want to make sure we have it posted first thing in the morning, so we can give the public adequate time to look at it. Pretty, can you get us those versions of the maps? I know you're on East Coast time, but it's also late for you now.
Yeah. Are you talking about E and F maps?
Right.
Yeah. Let me see what I can do. Let me see.
Otherwise, for now, we may post it from the SRE platform just so we can get it out to the public. They know to go to the hub, and then we'll have it prepared for the future meetings. But I think it's most important we get the revised agenda, Holly, is it not? Posted as quickly as possible.
Okay, before we leave this topic, I do want to address, I forgot to address this to Mr. Sasunian. Thank you for attending the meetings and for your passionate advocacy for the Armenian community. I know it might seem as if we ignored your input. We did not. But saying that you want to have the community together, it'd be most helpful if you were to address the specific maps that are in contention. We did look at 29 in the past. It was not favored, was not supported. But now we're looking at other maps. So if you have input that A, B, C, D, E, or F is the best and some are not or whatever, please provide that to us and we will definitely take it into consideration. All commissioners, come Wednesday, prepared to reveal your top 2 map choices. You'll want to study the maps on the hub, etc., between now and Wednesday. You'll hear public comment more on Wednesday, including for the new options, ENF, and come forward with be prepared to make that vote. Based on that vote, that may lead us to further narrowing issues. So hopefully that will happen so that we can continue to make progress towards our deadline, which is, as Commissioner Stetcher mentioned, 1 month away. Now let's go to the next agenda item. You're muted, Gayla.
I just thought everyone should see the maps being posted to the Hall of Administration. We pretty much cover the entire glass doors. They also have a message that people can go inside and get hard copies. But I just thought it was a fun picture to share with you all. For the public, I want to announce that our public hearing number 2 will be this Wednesday. It will be a special meeting starting at 6:30. Public hearing number 3, another special meeting, will be on Wednesday, December 1st at 6:30. And then on Tuesday, December 7th at 6:30 will be the 4th public hearing. We are also having another special meeting, which will be like this meeting on November 22nd. We'll have Bruce Edelson there as well. So we can, again, look at the maps more closely and look at how we can narrow and refine them. The other thing I want to be sure the public knows is when you attend the public hearing, if you sign up, you can sign up before the meeting by filling out the public comment form online. You can sign up with that form or with QA at the meeting, but we're going to stop sign up for taking public hearing by 8 o'clock. So be sure to sign up.
Gayla, I'm sorry to just interrupt here. The public aren't able to sign up to make a live public comment through the public comment form. They're only able to submit written public comments. So we encourage those who would like to make a live public comment to sign up through the Q&A during the public hearing.
Yeah, so when you come, you then do it through the QA like you did today. Thank you, Ty. And that's the end of my report.
And with that, Commissioner Stetcher, yes.
Just wanted people to know I spent most of yesterday on Dockweiler Beach, and you can in fact get from the north side of the airport to the south side of the airport on the dry land. You just can't draw it on your map.
And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. That was a very productive
Thank you for
meeting.
that.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
It was very helpful.
Yes.